He says the way that artists are starting to believe that momentary popularity is better than longevity.
What's up?
I said longevity. Longevity is super disturbing, and really want y'all to think about the future and generational wealth. It's bigger than that right now. You got a lot of lives in your hands and a generation to start. So T-Pain is pretty much saying, everybody is about the instant gratification and getting to the bag, not thinking long term, not thinking longevity, especially from a standpoint of just even a product that you put out, thinking long term. Everything is instant. When I saw this, I actually agree with it, but I don't know if it covers the entire spectrum of music, because I know there are artists out there that still think, I guess, a little more long term than the average person. On the mainstream, I 100% think he is on the money. Unless I'm wrong, we'll go around the room and see what you guys think. Lon, what do you think about that? What do you take from that when you hear T-Pain's tweet?
Well, just off top, based upon the comment that he read, I can't speak on like the entirety of what he was saying because I don't know the full context of it, right? But I would say that I don't know if I get where the thought is coming from, right? Because the thought is coming from like, hey, if you're just doing stuff just for popularity for an instant and a moment, then you're not going to have, historically, you turn into like a one-hit wonder or something, right? Mm-hmm. But the thing is like nowadays, if you're a one-hit wonder, you can turn around and you can turn that one hit into like brand deals and think about the Island Boys, man. I mean, shoot, they're popular because they look like Sideshow Bob and they have like a cool really catchy thing,
chain.
They really do.
So, but
the gang.
I get it. I get where it comes from.
Hey, chill, man. chill.
I get the thought that momentary popularity is kind of disturbing or whatever, because I think he's coming at it from an angle where it's like you're not putting a lot of work into the craft that you're doing. Maybe you're just trying to find a quick in and just hop around from thing to thing to thing. Yeah. That's not a good way to build like a longevity of something.
Yeah, I
understand that aspect of it, but I do feel like now we're in an era where it's also important as a creative, in my opinion, to not be too hung up on certain ideas to the point to where you do it to death too long. Mm-hmm. Like if you think that you have a good idea and you try it over and over and over again, and you keep failing for over a year, that could have been 12 different ideas that you tried out.
So I heard you when you started off, I get the sense that you're saying, and like I said, I'm just paraphrasing here based off what you said. There are multiple ways now to obtain the longevity versus just focusing on the music. Like you said, you can have one record, it can pop, and then that could open up ventures to do 5 or 6 other things that might build longevity, right?
Yeah, I think the approach that I have changed throughout time, because I understand where he's coming from this mindset. I have this mindset, but I have had to adapt it throughout the years to just kind of think, like content and everything that is moving around is how fast it is coming out is not going away.
True.
Albums are not coming back in the way that we want them to.
Mm-hmm. Agree.
They're still going to be there, but they're never going to come back that way. And so like, if you really want to get ahead, you have to be able to play on people's need for instant gratification, need for momentary want and need. And those are those quick clips and all that other stuff that turns onto it. Now think about Bad Baby. Think about, all these artists, like she's an artist now.
Yeah.
She was on a talk show off being like,
agreed.
So they turned her into an artist.
Yeah, her bad behavior got her millions of dollars at this point.
Facts.
Before, and that was before where we're at right now, to where like we have the case. Like if you're out there to try some, I don't know. I guess I understand where he's coming from, and I personally respect people that put more work into their craft, but I understand why people look for the moments, because that is the quickest way to get there. And at the same time, it's hard if you're little, like to grind something out for a very long time.
Yeah. That part has changed.
And if you grind it, you could grind it out for a really long time and get no real big return for it.
Sure.
Right. People have to realize too that 9 times out of 10, these artists aren't really artists. And what I mean by
That's
that,
a good point.
they
That's
were put in a
too.
position to where being a rapper or a singer or anything that they can do that can kind of hold somebody's attention is popular.
Mm-hmm.
So if this is what's popular, it's kind of, you can almost reference it to high school. People did things in high school to be popular. So if they couldn't play sports, they had to be good at something else,
Right.
regardless of what it is. If somebody said they can rap a little bit, I got a nice little style about myself, I dress cool, I can get this many followers, you know what I'm saying? I can get my bread up, and then I can probably transition to something else that I really want to do. People just want to be popular at this point in time.
Right.
Yeah.
Most of the people, now you do have your core artists that are definitely in this for the musicality of everything, and you know what I'm saying, they want to produce records and be around forever.
Smaller percentage.
Musically.
Yep.
But the mass population of people that's coming in the door and people are paying attention to are people that are just catching fire and lightning a bottle at that perfect time and then going on about their business. They never have to do this again. Like Lil Nas X does not have to make another album the rest of his life. And
Agreed.
Right. I think
I
it's,
agree.
I think it's one of those things where we could be potentially talking about two different things, you know, because when we look at it from an artistry standpoint, it's different from maybe Mike's over here just having a whole conversation.
Yeah,
you know,
I put my mic away.
Yep, lost the whole train of thought. So there we go.
Oh,
okay.
no. Did I
No.
make you lose it?
Yeah, go ahead,
All
Jay.
right.
My
Okay.
fault.
See, this is the thing where this is the social media, you know, TikTok, and I'm not knocking TikTok because that's been a big help to what we do here.
Yeah.
But there really is a, hey, look at me. Just look at me. I'm over here doing something crazy. And people try to parlay that into actual fame. Now, you know, because we're in a position now in this society where, you know, that you didn't, like I said, that didn't used to be a thing. You had to either be really smart, really talented, or really beautiful
or
to
have
get
some
on
money.
to
have some paper.
or honestly, even sometimes having a lot of money was not enough to get you on the cover of a magazine.
You had to have money
had
to
to-
just record.
So,
True.
you know, it was, like I said, you had to be really pretty, really smart, really famous, or really athletic to be on the cover of somebody's magazine. You know, that ended as soon as I saw, it was several years ago when Snooki from
Rolling
Jersey
Stone?
Shore, you know, here's somebody who is not smart, athletic, famous, or talented that was able to get on the cover of a magazine and move units.
Yeah.
You know, so that pretty much is what the, hey, look at me. No matter what it is that I'm doing, no matter how deplorable or just stupid, you know, hey, look at me. I can get famous like that. Now,
It's
what
a
you
social media effect.
now, what you have really right now, and the thing is, in a way, the first thing that the person that's really built off of this, and I hope this isn't a diss because I enjoy the show Good Times, but when you think about Jimmy J.J. Walker, you know, originally he was not the star of that show.
Right.
Okay. But then at a certain point, when they realized he was a star, they basically wrote that they would write whole scripts around how they could get him to say dynamite. Now, here it is 40 years later, maybe even more. I turn on the TV and there is a commercial about retirement benefits.
I saw that.
And, you know, here's Jimmy J.J. Walker telling you about the money you can get if you're over 65. And of course, they have to find a way to incorporate
That's how you
dynamite
get the bag.
into the commercial.
Get that
So
bag.
a lot of times what it is that got you your attention,
That's what
you better understand that you're going to have to be that the rest of the time. Because like say he when they pitched him the commercial and he said, I don't want to have to say dynamite. They'd have been like, okay, well, you're not going to do the commercial and you're not going to get this money.
So too bad Hammer can't afford to pay all his dancers no more.
You know,
because people will be paying to go see his show.
So I'm just saying, like, for people who are trying to get into this position to where they want to be famous, like, I want you to think, whatever silly thing that you're doing to gain yourself a certain notoriety, do you want to do that for the next 30 years?
They
Especially if it
don't
has
care.
nothing to do with your actual
You hear what he said?
talent.
Listen,
You hear what he said?
the key formula here, and the thing that they want is the bag. So anything that they can do to get to the bag, they're with it. So, and then
For some
I mean,
people-
now today,
Some
if
people
you're
like
smart,
there's
if you're
somebody
smart,
who probably wouldn't want to say Dynamite for 40 years. They'd be like,
Well, I
I'm
mean,
so
then
much.
that
They'd
was
be
in
like,
the
I'm so
70s
much
though.
more than that. And then like when they say, no, you're not, you have to deal with the fact that that's how they see you.
That's true, but that was in the 70s. So now, fast forward to today, they'll find somebody that has a new niche that's going to replace what you said.
Yeah.
Like you
Quick,
can go
though.
back through social media and what meme was popping 10 years ago, and whoever was popular and was featured on the Ellen show, you don't hear anything about them anymore.
Right.
And it's because the microwave generation that we're in, like everything is fast. So they're always looking for something new. So the thing that the people coming up do have advantage of is being able to maneuver and take that bread, and blueprints have been laid out for everybody now.
It's an understanding.
You can get to somewhere else once you get that bag, add this to that situation, and make that pop. So you'll never have to even mess with that life again.
I'll tell you the blueprint.
What's that?
This is if you're taking notes at home,
Uh-oh. Long said pull your pen out.
there's two things you need to achieve both things. To have to have longevity and to also build long-term success and to potentially grab onto that momentary thing. You have to have two things that you have to master. You have to put your 10,000 hours in, or you have to be extremely good at two things. One, whatever it is you do. That's where the integrity of the whole thing comes from, right? Because you can do it without that.
Yeah.
But if you don't have that, you can't last a long time. Can't last a long time.
Thanks.
But the other thing is if you have your artistic ability or whatever that is that you're doing, the other thing is how you present it or your content. Your content has to be impeccable and your craft has to be impeccable. If you do those two things, you will get to where you need to be eventually.
No matter what it is that you're doing.
Right.
As long as you know how to, there are obviously tons of baby steps underneath there, but the two top tiers, in my opinion, are master your craft, whatever that is, and master how you get content to people in whatever era. Right now, we're in the era of oversaturation and push it out as much. If it doesn't matter if you're really good at it and your content's really good and your craft's really good, people are going to like it.
That's true.
And so if you can do that, there's obviously subcategories. You can keep the integrity. You can keep the people. You can keep the people that want to like you for you, and also rather than the people that are just going to laugh at you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we're going to
actually mention something.
We're
like
gonna
person.
we're gonna check out the Island Boys because we want to laugh at them, just like the Rhode Island rappers that hopping out of refrigerators. Or whatever.
You know. Yeah.
But
Warak.
yeah, but if they were
New artist.
but if we were like they can actually rap a little bit,
we
would want to
You'll
look
pay
for
attention to it.
Yeah, like say the
hammer time.
kids who were doing Island Boys, like they had a 10-song album ready to go, and it was fire.
Right.
Yeah.
Then whatever.
Well, the Island Boys song isn't even really a song.
But
They just sang it in a pool.
Right, but say like they were really look. A lot of times there are people out here who are trading dignity for attention.
True.
And the thing is, if you're going to trade dignity for attention, at least have something for us to latch on to. Just don't be out here, shaking ass and doing goofy stuff.
Otherwise, you're wasting it.
Because then you're just a clown. You're really just out here like, okay, I'll be hot for this little bit of time because someone could look at me and they were like, oh wow, that's wild. They're not, there's
They
a
can
big,
still go to their local bar and be popular for the rest of their life.
but at the same time, I just want people to realize there's a big difference between being laughed with and being laughed at.
I mean,
there's an artist though that sees the day in the moment. Brought up in the chat. Shout out to Brother to the Night. Cardi B. Is a prime example of somebody that seen an opportunity and did the proper steps, like Long just said, and did it to a T.
Yep.
She literally just hosted the AMAs a week or so ago. She's like popping. Like you don't see anybody that followed that love and hip hop format.
Right.
Because the rest of the people have been on Love and Hip Hop for 7 seasons.
Forever.
And don't have one song to show for
When's
it.
the last
Never
time she
heard
put an
any of
album
these
out?
people.
She
I mean,
capitalized
like
off
2
of it.
years ago, but she's popular.
But she's
and she's
kept
not
us
going
all,
to stop doing it.
Yeah.
Because she's already made it to that tier.
Yeah.
To where you can do anything now, and we're always going to have our eyes on you.
Yeah.
And what's crazy too is I'm going to add another caveat to that. Who gave her the blueprint was y'all remember Kat Stacks?
Yeah.
All these women have followed
Tough.
Kat Stacks' example and capitalized on it.
That's true.
Whereas she, I don't know what happened to Kat Stacks, but she fell off. Nobody knows what happened to Kat Stacks.
Yeah.
But she pretty much showed all of these women, dudes too for that matter, how to get on the internet, get popping, get popular, just say anything, do whatever you want to do, and ride it out and see what happens.
There was a whole string of Kat Stacks at that time too. There was what was that? The Gucci, Fendi, Prada.
yeah.
all that
Pretty
stuff.
Shine.
Yeah.
Creation.
There were a handful of like.
Oh, they were about to hand her the keys to the kingdom. I remember
it was
that.
close. It was close.
And then, like, you know, it was, you know,
Her
this,
buddy started popping off N-words.
yeah,
here and there.
yeah.
What do you know? That wasn't.
But, you know, even with when you talk about Cardi B, which is a perfect example, yeah, she was wilding on, you know, Love and Hip Hop, but then she had 2 mixtapes that came out, and like,
It was actually good.
yeah,
That's
like
the other part.
I remember, like, you know, I'll talk about this with DJ Metronome. He'd be like, "Look, man, you called it. You know, I would have never checked for Gangsta Bitch Music 1 and 2 had you not said anything."
See.
Those are the names of the mixtapes.
But still.
Okay, yeah. But and then because I remember thinking, why would she sign with a label? Like, she's probably getting money without having to. But then, like, when Bodak Yellow came out, and we had to play that 3 times a night, and then I was
not get out,
and then I was like, nah, well, you know, maybe she's a one-hit wonder, and then like she kept coming with records, and like even though she hasn't put another album out,
She don't even need to.
because like, okay, then she put out WAP last year, okay, during the pandemic. You know, just stop the culture for a minute. You know, everybody had to talk about it, whether you like Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion or not. And then put out, you know, once we opened up a little bit, had Up ready to go, a song that can still go off in the club. Like, it's, look, I said, if anybody has capitalized off of this social media, do it for clout era, it has been Cardi B.
You know what you said, Terry, when you were talking about
Kat Stacks got deported.
who said, okay, it had to be somebody in the chat.
No wonder we haven't heard from her.
Yes,
She's
Nate.
wherever she got deported to don't have good internet.
when he talked about
That was unnecessary. I'm
make
sorry.
sure you
Shout out to Kat
know what
Stacks.
you're gonna be popular for. I saw an interview with my boy that played Braxton on Jamie Foxx,
Oh yeah.
and he said he can't hide from Braxton now, and it frustrates.
Let's give him his props. Christopher B. Duncan is his name.
Thank you. I could not remember his name, but he can't hide from. He says he goes into auditions now, and the first thing they say is like, "Braxton, what's up?" and it burns him up.
That's because when he was in what was the movie shot in Gary?
Oh man,
Original Gangster.
Original
Gangster. Well, nobody trying to see Braxton,
But he wasn't Braxton yet.
As
The
he-
show had not come out yet.
Yes, it did.
No. Original Gangster is like 96.
Yeah, that's before Jamie Foxx.
Well,
And he says,
Sorry.
he says ever since then, whether it's
no, man.
screenplay,
No, it was out.
Chad,
It was out.
Chad, if you're in the chat,
Yeah, somebody looked that up.
Google the year for
I remember seeing him
Jamie
as a
Foxx
gangster
show.
before he was.
Google that. Somebody
see.
put that in the chat. But he said he hates that because he says it's a gift and a curse because it's a blessing that he was on the Jamie Foxx show and it propelled his career. But he can't shake Braxton in 2021.
I mean,
they
just-
still call him
Just
Braxton.
the same
everywhere
way
he goes.
Jaleel White can't really shake Urkel.
Yeah.
I mean,
he
it
did
happens.
though because now he got a strain that is doing very
But what did
well.
he use
And
to
what did
promote
he
it?
use to promote the strain?
He used
Oh,
Urkel.
yeah.
He jumped back in the character.
It's actually called that too.
But
It's
I've
Purple
also,
Urkel.
but there are also people that have embraced it. I remember hearing Fonte told the story about meeting Michael K. Williams,
Yeah.
and he
yeah.
said Omar, and he was like, man, and the story goes that he said essentially like, nah, man, it's amazing or something, you know.
He's like, my mama called me
My mom
Omar.
calls me
Right.
Omar. He's like, I can't ask for anything more than, you know. So I think it depends on how you know.
That's fair, Long. I mean, it
Same
depends on
year.
how you take it. Was it the same year?
Yeah,
What year?
Okay, well, so there are people who had seen.
96.
Yeah,
It still
so
came out first, Jay Moore. I'm with you.
I'm just
It
saying.
was well, Jamie Foxx show premiered in August of 96.
All right, so that movie had to come out before August. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with
First
you,
of all,
Jay
didn't
Moore.
a whole bunch
It
of people.
came out in May.
There
so-
we go. He was
So
a
he
thug
had already
first.
shot those episodes.
Yeah, he was.
No,
he
because
was.
he had already shot Original
Yeah, he was.
Gangster.
He was a
true.
thug first. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's all. Good.
You know,
okay.
boy.
Glad
But
we
hey, but
cleared
once
up.
again, Christopher
He was
B.
a terrible
Duncan.
thug, though. He was a better.
No, he was all right. Look, first of all, Original Gangsters was not a great, other than Drew Down.
Wow.
His parent was always popping.
Yeah. Yeah, shout out to Pam Grier, though.
Always shout out to Pam Grier.
I'm sorry, I went to mustering Quiet Storm voice. I was like, shout out to Pam Grier.
Yeah, that's the right voice.
He gave
always.
he gave a little slight hum at the end of it too.
Yeah, always shout out to Pam Grier.
Oh, yeah.